10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2,
Manchester
1,
United have
0.
reached the promised land.
Well. It's been a few days since we've been here, but how are we doing, everyone? Sam here, United People's TV. I probably still sound hungover. I still kind of feel like I am a little bit hungover. Obviously went to the game on Monday night, stayed up in Manchester, came back yesterday, long old drive back. It was a great day to go up there from before the game with the protest. We'll speak about that in a bit of detail. To the game itself, 2-1 win over Liverpool. First time I've been in the TRA section, and I tell you what, hell yeah, TRA. Fair play. They've created a fantastic place there. It really feels like an away game inside Old Trafford. I never thought I'd be able to say that. But good morning to everybody. We've got 7 days left in the window, and there's still so much that this club is doing. We're going to be speaking about Antony this morning. Obviously, the 80 million euro bid got rejected last week, I believe. But we're going back in with a second bid. That will be happening. That's a case of when rather than if. We're going to be speaking about Cody Gakpo as well, and the idea of a double deal for Antony and Gakpo. It's a genuine possibility, but it does revolve around Cristiano Ronaldo leaving. I'll speak about all of that. We'll speak about Erik Ten Hag. We'll speak about the turnaround between the Brentford and the Liverpool games. We'll speak about Lisandro Martinez. You're damn right we're going to be speaking about Martinez. And there's lots and lots and lots to run through this morning. I'm going to try and cover it all, as I always do here on these interactive streams. But yeah, I think the last one we had was last Thursday, so nearly a week. Did you miss me? Yeah, you might have missed me a little bit. But who's down here in the comments? Dylan, good morning to you. Dipesh, good morning to you. Stuart, I can see you there as well. Carl Baldwin on Facebook. How you doing there? Steve watching from Nigeria on Facebook too. How you doing there? We've got Paul, we've got Paula, we've got Josh, we've got Ant, we've got Vicky, I can see you there. Lots and lots of regulars and lots and lots of new faces as well. Whew. As a super chat there, let me read that out before we get into this. Jordan saying, morning people. What exactly did people do at the protest? Well, Jordan, I will be speaking about the protest in a good bit of detail very, very shortly. So I definitely will answer your question, sir. And there's a member there joining. That's Anuj rejoining. How you doing, buddy? I thought I recognized the little avatar. Look, first things first, before I do jump into the protests, I want to say episode 4 of the podcast was released this morning. So please give a listen to that one, because I recorded that last night with Bao and Neil. No, sorry, Bao and Matt. My bad. Yeah, and I was struggling. I think we can say I was struggling, but we got it done. We got it out, and yeah, it was a fantastic day at Old Trafford. It really, really was. I didn't know what to expect from the protests. Right, the 1958. What they've done, which is different to every single protest we've had before, is we've got one body who we can go to for news and updates, and everybody can follow what the 1958 is doing. And that's really helped organize these protests better than they've been organized before. But it's the consistency of them. Against Norwich, there'll be one against Arsenal in a couple of weeks' time. Against Liverpool here. They're happening on top of each other. One after the other after the other. And that there, you can see from that photo, I couldn't believe how big it was. Bao said it on the podcast this morning. You didn't really notice until you turn down Warwick Road and you're there and you're like, it was literally standstill. From the end of it, the whole way to Old Trafford, you were walking at a snail's pace. There was that many people. The whole road was full. They're estimating it was 10,000 plus, and I absolutely think it was 10,000 plus. There were so many people there. And to see that many United fans so vocal, so together, and I think protesting peacefully, that's a big point. It's been reiterated since the start by the 1958, because as soon as any protest turns violent, the headlines in the newspapers will flip, the narrative will switch, and the Glazers will then benefit from the protests more than anything else. And that's the last thing we want to happen. Vicky, nice to see you there. Thanks for super chat. Chelsea are continuing to spam United with the Maguire links. I'll speak about those. Fabrizio Romano's commented on that, and I haven't actually commented on the Maguire links yet. Someone there joining as a member, let me give you a shout out. Ruben. I like the name Ruben. Let me know where you're watching from. Is Ruben the guy in, I think it's Ocean's 11? I think he's the old dude, if I'm right anyway. But yeah, the next protest, Sean asking down there, the next protest is going to be against Arsenal. Right? Every single Old Trafford game, there will be a protest. It was cracking. And I'm sure some of you have watched that video that I did, and I worked my ass off on that yesterday. And I think that's why I'm so hungover. I was working on that from 9 a.m. after only a few hours sleep. And we got it out yesterday at 8 p.m. thereabouts. But if you haven't watched it, I'm going to play it at the end of this video. So I'm always proud. These videos that I've done with the Glazers out protests, all three of them so far, they're sort of videos I like to hold up, and sort of they're the videos I can say I'm most proud of, because I feel like they could have an impact in taking it further forward. But look, I mean, there are so many talking points. I have to pull this picture up, by the way. That's my favorite picture from the game on Monday night. There really are so many different talking points. That's why, for the first time, I encourage you to listen to the podcast if you want to put a smile on your face. We've been doing these podcasts, well, season 2 of it now. Not been many of these podcasts where we've come on after a cracking result, after a cracking performance, and you can have a big smile on your face. But after that protest and after this performance against Liverpool, there were so many good talking points. Not about how much of a shit show our club is, but just about the individual performances from Malacia, from Martinez, from Varane. We saw Champions League Varane. He's there. He's there. We just want to see that every single week. But of course, with 7 days left, the transfer window is still, well, it's well and truly open, and it's well and truly active as far as Manchester United are concerned. I don't know. For the life of me, I have no idea what to expect at the end of this transfer window, because if you had asked me 10 days ago if I had expected Casemiro to sign, I would have laughed in your face. Lo and behold, I was completely and utterly wrong. I think all of us collectively, maybe not all of us, but I can't speak for everybody, but it just felt like it was the most fantastical link that we've had all summer. Like Casemiro, it's like, why is Casemiro going to be? Oh, we've signed Casemiro. That took me by surprise. I will speak about Casemiro a little bit later in the show. But on top of that, we're talking about Antony. We're talking about Gakpo. We're talking about Bai leaving. We're talking about Tuanzebe leaving. Phil Jones leaving. Wan-Bissaka leaving. Cristiano Ronaldo leaving. Like there's 7, 8, 9 different transfers, ins and outs, that could happen in the next 7 days if Erik Ten Hag gets everything that he wants to. David, you're joining as a member as well. Let me know where you're watching from, Dave. I'll try and give you a shout out. Andre, what are you saying here? Sam video was brought with tears. Rats owners need to go now. Please talk about the security confiscating the Glaze out banners. It broke out yesterday. It did. I saw that. I think it was a young lad in the disabled section had his Glazers out banner confiscated by security. I'm going to dive into that a little bit more, trying to find out a bit more information. I know it's been passed on to the club by 1958 and Manchester United Supporters Trust. But let's find out a bit more information on that. Vicky saying, yes, we saw Varane. Yeah, mate, Varane was, it's really, I wouldn't say it's hard to choose man of the match against Liverpool, because I personally think it was Martinez. But there were candidates. There were real candidates. We saw Marcus Rashford. He's there. He's not gone. He's right there. We all feared, I'll be honest, a lot of us feared. Like, when is he coming back? The form had dipped for so long. But he's there. Sancho. Yes. Varane. Just pretty much everyone to a man was fantastic against Liverpool. And something that stands out for me was, in my opinion, this is opinion, I think Martinez and Malacia were the 2 best players. And they're 2 of the signings that Erik Ten Hag has made. New signings are not the be-all and end-all of anybody's successful season. But when it comes to a new manager, when it comes to bringing something new in the club, these new signings make such a substantial difference. And we saw that against Liverpool. And so much more is needed at the club. Now, Antony. Let's speak about Antony. The first bid went in last week for 80 million euros after United had been posturing all summer long, effectively just tight purse strings from the club until last week, when I tell you, we literally looked down the back of the sofa and we found like 200 million euros. The money has always been there. It's been a choice. I think the comparison I've done is like, if you ask your friend if you want to go out for dinner, he's like, no, I can't afford it. Even though he's got money in his bank, he's just choosing where to spend it. And he doesn't want to spend it on going out for dinner with you. But he's got the money. That's a bit like the Glazers this summer. They've got the money. They've just chosen not to spend it until, well, whether it's panicking, whether it's their response to the pressure on the club, X, Y, Z, whatever the justification of it is, Man United are spending now. And we've got Casemiro in. That took us all by surprise. And Antony is next on the list. So what I'm going to do right now is run through the latest article from Laurie Whitwell on The Athletic this morning with information on all the transfers. And then I'm going to run through James Ducker's article in terms, that's a bit more information on the exits and Eric Bailly's move to Marseille, which, by the way, is far cheaper than I thought it was going to be. I have to admit that. But make sure you drop a like on the video. Let's get straight into the news. There's a question there saying, look, why can't we get Sam? We're not going to get Sam Maximan. I'm not going to get Sam Maximan. I mean, his end product has improved so much over the last 12 months. I wouldn't be surprised if somebody did come in for him. But he seems to be enjoying that Newcastle project, that's for sure. Right, let's go. He said this is what Laurie Whitwell is saying about all the latest on Manchester United's transfer window. He said the future of Cristiano Ronaldo needs resolving one way or another. Well, that's one way of putting it. As far as Erik Ten Hag is concerned, either he accepts being rotated in and out of the team, or he cracks on and finds a new club. And this has always been the issue. Erik Ten Hag would, at this point, just be fine with Ronaldo leaving. But we can't find a new club for him. I don't know whether at this point there is a genuine possibility. We spoke about this on the podcast, actually. Whether there might be a genuine possibility of Man United terminating Ronaldo's contract. Just sort of like reaching a mutual agreement. Saying, okay, you don't want to be here. We can't find a club for you. No one can afford you. We'll terminate the contract and we'll move on. It just strikes me as that's not really something that United would do. But is it better to do that than to have, well, a sulking Ronaldo on the bench? And of course, Ronaldo's going to sulk. This is the greatest goal scorer of all time. He's not going to be happy sitting on the bench. He's not going to be happy being a rotational player. It's a really tough situation for Ten Hag to sort of navigate at the moment. But if Ronaldo leaves, the possibility is there for two signings, not just Antony. Go down here saying, look, Ten Hag still wants an attacker regardless, and probably two if Ronaldo leaves, and a new goalkeeper is expected to come in. I'll cover that in a little bit of detail in a bit. Let's scroll down here and get the information on Antony, though. United might sign a right back if Wan-Bissaka leaves. I'll speak about that too. Look, Ajax are expecting an improved bid for Antony, who watched United's win over Liverpool on TV. Of course he did. Antony and his agents are pushing for the move after United submitted an initial 80 million offer last week. He was left out of Ajax's squad against Sparta on Sunday. Ajax won 100 million, but a figure of 94 million euros has been mentioned as a potential compromise. Now, I think we all agree. I mean, maybe we don't all agree, but pretty much all of us agree. 100 million for Antony is outrageous. I would say 80 million for Antony is still overpriced. But it's a summer where Ajax didn't really want to sell him. So they were going to add the extra money on. It's the same thing as Jadon Sancho being valued at 130 million one summer and the next summer being sold for 72 million. Ajax have put an inflated price on Antony because they didn't really want to lose him this summer. We're going to have to pay that inflated price. It's going to come with extra pressure for Antony, but I've got to trust Erik Ten Hag that if he signs Antony, he signs him for the right reasons. And the way I'm looking at Malacia playing, the way I'm looking at Martinez playing, the way that I'm seeing Christian Eriksen playing, and the way that I will no doubt see Antony play if we sign him, and Casemiro when he comes into the team. You've got to trust Erik Ten Hag with the decision. This is the only summer where I'm going to sort of overlook the fact that we're just going after basically former Ajax players, Dutch players, players in the Eredivisie. Because we have no scouting department. I know you want to try and slam Ten Hag for just doing that, but we've got nobody you can trust. And I've said this so many times. And if you don't understand at this point, you probably won't understand. That's cool. You can be you. But this is the only summer I'm going to sort of not forgive, but sort of overlook the fact that we're doing that. And if Antony comes in at that price tag, I mean, it's a lot of dough, right? It is a lot of dough. But I'll tell you one thing, right? Antony is doing everything he can to force this move. He didn't train last week. He wasn't in the match day squad against Sparta. Hell, he's even watching United games. Look, he's going on Instagram doing a little bit of flirting over there. Antony is doing everything he possibly can to force this move. He wants to play for Manchester United. He wants to play for Erik Ten Hag. He wants to come here. And we've said so often this summer, all of us here on the channel, we want players who want to play for the club. Bingo bango, that man there. So I would expect Manchester United to go in. I mean, today, why not? We've only got 7 days left, so this has to be swift. What we're going to see now in the next 7 days is not really what Manchester United do in transfer windows, and that's fast movement. As the Casemiro deal shows, we can do it. We can go after even a big player like Casemiro. We can go in, boom, unexpectedly, take advantage of the fact that he was left on the bench there for Real Madrid's opening La Liga game, went in there, got the deal done quick. Antony, I imagine, I hope, it has to be the same thing. There's a super chat coming up here, so let me read this before I move on. I don't want to miss it. Ian, what are you saying, sir? Saying, love the show, Sam. You're the man after my own heart. Thank you very much, Ian. Look, I'll tell you something that happened at the protest. Must have been like 7 or 8 people came up to me, sort of said, look, man, love what you're doing. Keep doing what you're doing. And it was such a diverse crowd. There was just outside the toll gate, there was a dad and his partner and their daughter. And then a little bit further down the road, it was a guy with tattoos all over his head. And they both said hello. It's good. It makes me proud of the content I do. And that's why integrity for me is such an important part of it. Because I can go there, I can walk in the middle of that protest, and I'm absolutely fine. And people will come up and say hello, and I'll happily say hello back. That's why for me, integrity is such a substantially important part of this channel. But yeah, that was pretty cool, actually. I just wanted to say that. Joseph, what are you saying, sir? I agree that 100 mil for Antony is outrageous, but when you see what people are willing to pay for Núñez and Fofana, it brings it into perspective. Of course, Fofana, what is it, 75, 85 that Leicester are rejecting? You see, what are Chelsea doing with Anthony Gordon? That is more outrageous, I would argue. He's had one breakthrough season in a relegation-threatened Everton, and Chelsea are willing to pay, what, 50 to 60 million for a Gordon? That's outrageous, especially when you see Raheem Sterling going for like 45 million. Danny's saying that, did you see Ben Foss was in a protest? I mean, he wasn't in the protest. He was outside Old Trafford at the Trinity at the end of it, and then he went into his seat. So he wasn't part of the protest, but he was outside Old Trafford. Cycling GK, as he is commonly known as. Ruben, how you saying, sir? How you saying? How you doing? I know the 100 million asking price for Antony is outrageous, but I see it as an investment. He's young, hungry, wants to play for the club. And that's something, again, that was mentioned on the podcast. If you get 5-6 years out of Antony and he's putting in double figures for goals and assists over that period of time, then you're looking at a return on investment. And Sigmund, as you're saying down there too, yeah, he's being bought for potential. It's a modern trend of football transfers that you don't necessarily just buy a player for how much he's worth at that particular moment in time. You're paying for part of the future value. That's why the prices have gone up. So clubs aren't just willing to let a player go and just watch him shine somewhere else. They kind of want to be paid for that future privilege as well at the same time. So partly transfers now include possible potential prices, if you know what I mean. That's why the prices do get whacked up. And it is a lot of money. Ultimately, I won't ever lose sleep really over how much a player is or isn't that Manchester United do or don't sign. As long as the right players are signed for my club at the end of the window, I'll be happy about it. And it's something that I've maintained since day one this summer transfer window. I did wobble. I'll be honest, I wobbled about 10 days ago. But I've said I think that we'll be happy with Manchester United's transfer activity when the summer transfer window closes on the 31st of August. As it stands, we have signed Lisandro Martinez, who looks like an absolute diamond. We've signed Tyrell Malacia, who looks like an absolute diamond. We've signed Christian Eriksen on a free, who we all know is an absolute diamond. We signed Casemiro. top 3 defensive midfielders in world football for the last 5, 6, 7 years. We've signed the number 6. Yeah, I'm happy about that. And now we're talking about going in with a second bid for Antony, who wants the move. I'll tell you what, I probably wouldn't have as much confidence if I didn't see what Antony is doing. Antony is doing everything he possibly can to force this move through. Transfer request has gone in, not training. If you want to, you can throw in a question about his attitude. But I think he just wants it that bad that he's kind of willing to slightly burn the Ajax bridge to do it. Again, I feel sorry for Ajax. But at the same time, and I have to say this here, right? One sec. Caddy, you join us a member. Let me know where you're watching from, buddy, before I say this, because this is really important. There's quite a few Ajax fans who now follow the channel to follow how Erik Ten Hag gets on. I don't personally feel that you can question, personally, might be wrong here. I don't personally feel that you can question the attitude of Antony, because Ajax put 2 price tags on 2 players. They put a 50 million price tag on Lisandro Martinez, and they put an 80 million price tag on Antony. We went in with a bid for 50 million for Martinez to Ajax, and they said no. They held out, and we ended up paying more. They didn't get a player there kicking off because United went in and we were willing to overpay. They're doing the same thing again with Antony. You can't, as a football club, put a price on an individual player, receive a bid for that player at that price, reject that offer despite asking for that price, and not expect a kickback from the player. A player who has massive ambition. A player there in Antony who's lost his manager, whose club has lost their assistant manager too, and Gravenberch, and Martinez, and Mazraoui, and Halle, has sold everybody. Ajax, this is your own doing at this point. You can't put a price on a player, receive a bid of that price, reject it, and potentially not expect some sort of repercussions. You can't, and that's why Antony is striking right now. That's why he's striking. That's why his agents will be going to the club saying, hold on, you put a price on him. United have offered that, and now you're rejecting it. What do you expect of Antony at that point? He could just knuckle down and go, right, okay, I'm going to stay at the club. But it's obvious that his ambition is driving him away from the club. And that's, Ajax have created this scenario, right? And that's sort of what I want to think. So while I do have some sympathy for Ajax, I think they're the architects of this current situation with Antony. You can't put a price on a player, receive an offer of that exact bid, reject it, and then be surprised if the player's pissed off. That's why I think so anyway. Vicky, thank you very much. What are you saying? As fans, we should not pay attention too much on the handling of this last week. Feels United are cramming like they forgot about an exam they have. Yeah, it's proper cramming. It's absolute cram city. But at least we're cramming, right? Because sometimes you can just ignore the fact the exam's going on and going there absolutely blind, which it would have been this season if we didn't do that. But I don't know. It's this Antony situation, it's a bit weird. They should just, if you're going to put a price in it, accept the offer when it comes in. Anna saying Casemiro will help hold the midfield more when we were playing against teams who like to play low block. Top signing. Yes, it's an absolutely top signing, mate. It really, really is. But look, Antony, I'm expecting United to go back in this. Well, I've seen no reason why it can't happen today. Maybe we're going to go back with another live stream later on today. But Antony, it's not just the only man we're talking about from the Eredivisie. Let's go back to Laurie Whitwell's article and talk about Cody Gakpo. Cody Gakpo represents an alternative to Antony, but, and this is the crucial bit down here, it is believed United will get one or the other, but some ambitiously feel they may have a chance at signing both. And that's the thing there. If we go over here, I believe, yeah, look at it. Obviously, Ruud van Nistelrooy, the manager of PSV, this is what he said about Cody Gakpo. So there's a lot of rumours for a long time. It's clear that we would love to keep Gakpo here at PSV. He's never changed his attitude in training after the rumours, so that's good for a young player. Now, you'll know full well that Gakpo and PSV, they're playing Rangers tonight, second leg of their Champions League qualifier. Now, I don't know whether there's another round of qualifying or whether this is the last round. Kind of doesn't really matter. We've heard all the way through that if Gakpo leaves PSV, that it won't happen before these two legs are done. So we're on the verge of that being done. And Gakpo is a different sort of player to Antony. Antony is that tricky flair player on the right wing who loves to cut inside on his left foot, has a bag of tricks. Wonderful. Is a typical, I suppose, Brazilian exciting winger that you would expect. Cody Gakpo is a bit more, I don't know the right word to describe him, but he's somebody who's happy to play with his back to goal. He's somebody who's got pace and power and directness, can cut on the left or the right, but he would offer something very, very different to Antony. They're not technically replacements for each other. They're alternatives in the same way that Casemiro, as it's shown, is an alternative to De Jong. It's not because he's the exact same sort of player. Very, very different player. And I would say Gakpo is a similar sort of thing to Antony. Very, very different sorts of player. Ray, you sent a super chat. I thank you, dude. What are you saying, sir? Saying Ajax done this twice for Antony. United put the money down for what they want, and twice they played the fiddle. I don't blame Antony for not wanting to play for Ajax again, so they should sell him. Now, I don't think that it's a case of whether or not he wants to play for Ajax again. It's more the fact that they've put the price on him. United have offered to pay it, and he goes, right, okay, well, I want to play for United now. I want to play for Ten Hag. What do you mean you're rejecting it? That's the price you asked for. It's a dodgy situation, but you'll remember that I interviewed Rick Elfrink here from Eindhoven. Was it Eindhoven? Like that? Well, anyway, daily newspaper in Eindhoven. Maybe I'll try and speak to him again. But I'm definitely going to be watching some of that game, have it on the background probably tonight. The Rangers PSV game. I'll be interested to see how Gakpo gets on. But if Ronaldo leaves, I would say there's a really strong chance that Man United go in for both of them. And so we should. Because that would be United actually genuinely replacing Ronaldo. I'm not saying that Gakpo can come in and score 30, 40 goals a season. That's far from what I'm saying. But what Ten Hag is trying to achieve with this team is create a set of attackers that he can effectively choose 3 of them at any one time, kind of move them around, and expect similar sorts of performances. Whether that's choosing Rashford on the left, Sancho on the right, and Martial through the middle. Whether that would be choosing Gakpo on the left, Antony on the right, and Rashford through the middle. Whether that would be choosing Elanga on the left, Sancho on the right, and Martial through. That's what it is. That's what he needs. He needs to get a set of attackers that he can just drop in and out. And Ronaldo is different. It is. It's just Ronaldo is not suited to the Ten Hag system completely. Even the staunchest of Ronaldo fans will admit that. It's true. And there's no agenda going there whatsoever. But it all depends on whether or not Ronaldo finds a club. That's the stopping point here. The stopping point is not anymore whether Ronaldo wants to leave or not. We know Ronaldo wants to leave. The stopping point isn't whether Ten Hag wants him or not. We know that Ten Hag is prepared to let him leave if he wants to leave and if he can find a club. That's the stopping point. There has been a stopping point for a long, long time. And I mean, I'll be honest, I don't know how in the last 7 days, randomly, there's a club that's going to all of a sudden come in for Ronaldo that wouldn't have already been in for him. Because, of course, he wants to play Champions League football. But we know that's not going to be Madrid or Barca or Bayern or Juve. Dortmund, I think we even got last week. It's basically every Champions League team has randomly been linked to Ronaldo. And none of the moves are materialized. So I don't really know how that's going to change. Martial, what are you saying? Steve Housen said, I love the positioning Harry Maguire against. Oh, well, look. Harry Maguire, I'm going to speak about Harry Maguire a little bit there. And well, you know full well that I was probably one of his fiercest critics last year. I don't regret doing those videos that I did. Because I think at the time there was enough justification and evidence based across not just a 1, 2, 3, 4 game period. It was way over half a season before I started doing those. And he was our captain. And when you're captain of the club, you get held to a different level of accountability. But Ten Hag dropped him. I don't know what I'm going to do my video on this afternoon. There really are so many talking points. But I might do one on Ten Hag's bold decisions and how they all paid off. All paid off against Liverpool. Go down here. There's a little comment here from Laurie Whitwell, of course, on Frankie de Jong. And that's this. Frankie de Jong set pulses racing by liking an Instagram post about Casemiro's arrival, but that pursuit is considered done. The Brazilian is seen as De Jong's alternative, especially given the cost. Now, that De Jong situation was an absolute stinker. Absolute stinker, wasn't it? I don't think it's the same category as Fabregas, in my opinion, because Fabregas, Ten Hag must have been told by Frankie or his representatives that he would be happy to join Manchester United if he can resolve the situation. And I think that was probably the situation from the first time that he called to find out about it. And that's why United continued to do it. But United did not expect Barcelona to act the way they have acted this summer. Nobody has, right? Nobody has. But if we're talking about alternatives, we always were talking about it. There seems to be De Jong being plan A, B, and C. Well, it looks like Casemiro's plan B. And I'll be honest, I think I can get along with that. I think I'm fine with that. It's a very different pivot. But in the same way that if Frankie de Jong was signed by Manchester United, it would have left a bit of a weakness in terms of that ball winner, that enforcer. Now we've signed Casemiro. It's the flip side. We don't need to worry about that anymore. We've literally signed one of the best screening defensive midfielders in the world. Maguire's going to be a better defender because of Casemiro. Varane is. Lindelof is. Every single defender behind him will be a better defender because we've got Casemiro. But at the same time that now leads to further concerns about that ball-playing playmaker, that person who receives the ball first from defense. We've still got a weakness there. Now, in a dream world, we go and sign De Jong and we go and sign Antony. We sign everybody like Football Manager. Don't think we're going to be signing De Jong. And according to Laurie Whitwell, that's case closed. Let's see if anything changes there, but that would be surprised. But I'll be honest, nothing surprised me. Nothing surprised. Imagine trying to do a video summarizing this whole summer transfer window. I have no idea how long that video would be because it's been balmy. It has been absolutely balmy. Drew on Facebook, what are you saying here, sir? Any truth in Memphis being linked on a return? Remember that Memphis is in talks with Barcelona to terminate his contract so he can leave as a free agent. So any talks of any fee would make 0 sense whatsoever. That's just sorely newspaper guff at this particular moment in time. But we're here. We've had a nice long conversation there about Antony, about Gakpo, about Ronaldo. That's all in the attack. There's so much going on defensively at Manchester United at the moment and in the window as well. Let me run through all of this and I'll keep answering as many of your questions as I possibly can. This is from James Ducker from the Telegraph saying Manchester United defensive clear-out gathers pace with more to follow Erik Bailly out the door. Let's go and read this article together. Manchester United's defensive clear-out has gathered pace after Bailly agreed to join Marseille on a season-long loan. Under the terms of the deal, Marseille have an obligation to buy Bailly for a fee understood to be $6 million if they qualify for the Champions League next year. That's a lot cheaper than I thought it was going to be. I think we've had quite a few discussions here on the podcast, on these streams, and I was like, I feel like 10 to 15 million is a fair price for Bailly. And I stand by that because what? City got 15 million for Gavin Bazunu. I mean, there's so many other deals. I mean, we even got more than that for bloody Andreas Pereira from Fulham. I suppose it goes to show how much the Premier League spending this year is dwarfing everywhere else. But I think Marseille have got a seriously cheap deal there. I hope to God that Bailly refines his form, refines his fitness first and foremost. Refines that fitness because he needs it. But yeah, I think Fulham was the only club interested in signing Bailly in the Premier League. And he didn't want to go to them because he wanted Champions League football. Ray, thank you very much, dude. What are you saying, sir? Hi, Sam, me again. I really don't blame United for De Jong. We put the money down and Barca accepted. We didn't know Barca would play us like this, trying to get rid of a player they don't want to pay. Right. Nobody could have expected that, man. Nobody at all. And United certainly didn't. We did get that. We got the fee agreed. Sorry, was it 75 million? 75 million, I think it was. Plus 10 million in add-ons. Barca played dirty. We got sort of shafted, really. I think Frankie de Jong got shafted. Let's see what happens. Because you can bet your bottom dollar we're probably going in for Frankie de Jong again next year. This won't be a situation that just gets case closed. It might be a year of waiting for it, but maybe next year our midfield's going to line up with Casemiro, de Jong, and Bruno, or Eriksen, or Fred. That's some strength in depth. But that's basically gone. They're paying the full wages. They're going to give us, as I say, 7 million euros. That's a bit cheap. But he's not going to be just him. We go down here and we follow this. Bayer's impending exit follows the departure of Alex Telles, and United are willing to listen to offers for Wan-Bissaka and Brandon Williams, as well as Phil Jones and Tuanzebe. Now, I was reading The Athletic as well earlier. Sounds like Man United might be holding on to Brandon Williams, but Wan-Bissaka, I talk about Ronaldo not being suited to the Ten Hag system. Wan-Bissaka, polar opposite. I think he belongs in a team like Crystal Palace are good this year. I think they'd probably do far better than just being a relegation scrap. But it seems like that was what he was good at. He loved playing in a team that had to defend a load. That was where his natural footballing ability came. And he just wasn't able to adapt to it. I'm sure he put all the effort in. I'm sure he tried. Try as you might, sometimes it just doesn't work out, doesn't fit. That's what I would class that situation with Wan-Bissaka. Ideally, we shift him on because I don't want him at the club because it's just a bit pointless. There's no point having him at the club anymore if he's not going to play. And Tuanzebe and Phil Jones, seriously, where is Phil Jones? I'm not even seeing him. Is he training separately? I presume he's just been told that he's not going to be part of the club anymore, but we're still paying him. Unless I've been looking wrong, I haven't seen him in any training photos. Nobody must want him. Presumably, a similar situation to Ronaldo. We've got a player that we're ready to let go, but a player who we can't get rid of at the moment. But if Ten Hag gets his way, we're going to see Bailly, Tuanzebe, Jones, and Wan-Bissaka all leave Manchester United within the next 7 days. And on top of that, signing Antony and maybe Cody Gakpo if Ronaldo leaves. And if Ronaldo doesn't leave, it's Antony or Gakpo. But you would imagine it's probably going to be Antony. I'd be surprised if after all of this that United back out of this Antony deal and then just switch to Gakpo. And the only reason you would do that is because it's cheap. But if the money's gone in for Antony, the money's obviously there. So I imagine Antony will get done. And I'm excited for it. Yes, it would be overpriced for sure. But Antony wants to play for United. And we could really do with a winger like him. There's nothing you have to be excited about. Even if you have concerns about Antony. And I think there's plenty of reasons to have fair concerns. You have to be excited about it. But it's not just that. Of course, we're in for a goalkeeper as well. It's the latest from Fabrizio on the goalkeeping situation. We've got three names there. Jan Sommer, Kevin Trapp, and Vlacho Dimos. Well, I just want to sign him for his name. Kevin Trapp, I believe, was the Eintracht Frankfurt goalkeeper. Yeah, he was. There you go. And Jan Sommer, of course, is a Swiss goalkeeper, if I remember correctly. Ten Hag wants somebody that isn't Tom Heaton to be the number two. He obviously doesn't feel like Tom Heaton's enough as the backup. And we've got so many games of football coming up. Like we've got 9 in October. It's going to get crazy from when the transfer window closes. It's going to get full tilt football. 24/7 football, basically, up until the start of the World Cup. Then the World Cup comes on. Let's see what happens there. But he wants a goalkeeper. Jan Sommer or Kevin Trapp. I don't know off the top of my head which one will be completely and utterly better suited. But I'll do some research into that. But Ten Hag, if he gets his way, we will sign a goalkeeper in the next 7 days as well. Ibs, what are you saying? Started watching your videos this summer and you've convinced me to come. Yeah, man. Welcome aboard. Let me know where you're watching from, buddy. I've said it all along. I'm forever grateful for everybody that's helped make this a genuine community. And yeah, I really felt it when I went to Old Trafford and so many people came up to me and said, "Oh man, love what you do. Keep doing what you're doing." And we all marched together against the Glazer. It was cracking. I really, really enjoyed that little moment of it. But yeah, I don't really like bragging about that stuff. So it's the only thing that I'll speak to you here randomly 40 minutes into a live stream. But of course, there was another potential transfer that could have happened that was getting some people excited. And that was Harry Maguire in Chelsea, which felt like a bit of a rogue transfer rumour. And maybe that's what it is. Fabrizio here is saying no negotiations were ongoing between United and Chelsea for Maguire. He's expected to stay. They want Fofana. They were looking at alternatives. Maybe they put in a conversation. Maybe they gave in a phone and say, "Right, lads, is Maguire for sale?" We've said no. Harry Maguire being benched by Ten Hag. Like if we were to, is that a picture of Ten Hag? Yeah, he is. There's the boy. There's the man himself. Erik Ten Hag making the decision to bench Harry Maguire was a bold managerial call. Not bold in the sense that Maguire was crap against Brentford, so just drop him because, you know, you could have said that about everybody. But dropping your captain and leaving Ronaldo on the bench, two major calls, and both of them were hugely important in the scope of that game. They absolutely were. Jibak, you're saying what you're saying, sir. Worried that the Glazers fund these signings by selling future TV rights. Barca showed a crooked way of spending money. Glazers are top crooks. Now, I have seen that last week, and I spoke out about that straight away. I don't know whether it's different in terms of TV rights and the ability to sell off percentages, and whether it's different inside the Premier League compared to La Liga, because the numbers are far bigger in the Premier League. Don't know that off the top of my head. But this money's come from somewhere. Whether that's the Glazers finding investment elsewhere, whether there's something's happening behind the scenes that we don't know, whether that's them selling off part of the club, I don't know. But the money's come from somewhere. But benching Maguire was the absolute right call from Erik Ten Hag, as was benching Cristiano Ronaldo, as was benching Luke Shaw. All three of them deserve to be dropped. And there were so many more that deserved to be dropped from that game against Brentford, let's be completely honest. And it helped transform that team. But Maguire's going nowhere. We're hearing that Erik Ten Hag has sort of been telling all of his players, or his defenders certainly, we're working on rotation this summer. And we have to work on rotation this season. Even if this man over here has got an absolute set 11 that he's firm about. Like he wants it to be Varane, Martinez, Malacia and Dalot with De Gea. Boom, that's your back five. That's not going to be happening week in, week out at all. Sigmund, by the way, I saw down there in the comments, it looks like you've been coming Santa again. You're permanently Santa in this channel. You're an absolute ledge. But I think you've gifted 5 memberships, so thank you. And congrats if you got one. And Joseph, I've just seen that you've done it as well there, man. That's I think I've always reiterated that. That's the biggest show of what this community genuinely is. That others enjoy their position in the community so much, they donate 5 memberships to someone else so they can come in. If you are new, make sure you join the community. Let me pop a link down here. If this community is completely and utterly free to join, right? I love it. I'm sure you love it too. There's a link down there. Make sure you come across. And if you're a member, go onto the YouTube community tab. There's a separate link in there for you. I'll post it in there. I'll put it back up to the top of it now. And then there's a special members only chat. And if you're on Facebook, go to the private Facebook members group. There's a link there too. Ice-T, not that Ice-T. Maybe it is that Ice-T. I don't think it is. You became a member. Is Ice-T alive? Yeah, he is. I don't know why I thought Ice-T had died. Anyway, Ten Hag, this put a smile on my face. I'll be completely honest. Last week, you'll remember, post the Brentford game, I did the video on the reaction, on the punishment. Like Erik Ten Hag was furious at what he saw against Brentford and didn't want it to be there again. And it made the whole team run 13.8 kilometers, which collectively was how much more Brentford ran than Man United. It was a little bit old school. It was a little bit sort of military drill master, like the guy from Full Metal Jacket. But, I mean, no United fan was complaining, were they? Every United fan was down here saying, you know what? I think that's probably a good idea. This put a smile on my face this morning because reports came out yesterday, actually from Simon Mullock first, and they sort of supported now by Laurie Whitwell, by David Ornstein. Ten Hag joined in. Let's read this story here. This is a massive power play as a manager, which clearly had an impact. Manchester United manager Erik Ten Hag took part in the intense training session held a day after his side's humiliating defeat to Brentford. He's cancelled the scheduled day off, got everybody in, and made his players run 13.8 kilometers each. But it can be revealed that Ten Hag himself took part in the running session to show his togetherness with his players. That is such a powerful bit of management because it shows collective responsibility. Ten Hag would have been completely within his rights to just make the players run 13.8, shout at them, blow whistles and say, you can't do that again. But instead of doing that, he said, look, I'm going to run with you. I'm going to take some collective responsibility because obviously something didn't work. And I think that was a massive like management power play, which clearly worked. right? Because against Liverpool, we didn't just win against Liverpool at Old Trafford. We outworked them. We outran them. And this is a Liverpool team that beat us 4-0 and 5-0 last season. A team that I don't think we've beaten like 4 years. To go from that against Brentford to that against Liverpool at Old Trafford was it's the two ends of the seesaw. And Ten Hag doing that was fair play, man. That's how you get players to buy into your process. And everybody did. And I think that can really be used now as sort of like the line being drawn in the sand. Ten Hag saying, look, if this ship is going down, I'm on board with you. I'm not going to jump off into my life raft and start pointing the fingers at all of you. Not just yet, anyway. That's if you listen to me. And the players listened. And it worked, man. I really, really am very impressed that Ten Hag took the decision to do that because he didn't really have to. As a manager, you don't have to do that. But he got in the trenches with everybody. And I think that clearly facilitated a different sort of response from these players. Because I imagine they all expected to sort of get thrown under the bus at that point after Brentford. But Ten Hag didn't take that approach. Warren, I can see you down here, my friend. I spot you. Mate, I honestly, I don't know how to react to the... Warren, by the way, has just gifted 10 memberships. One absolute ledge. I don't know how to react to it anymore because it just blows me away every single time, man. It's fantastic. Thank you, man. But look, speaking of fantastic, speaking about being blown away, segue. This photo definitely put a smile on my face. Have we finally replaced Roy Keane? I mean, it only took 17 years. I think he left in 2005. There or thereabouts. Can't remember. Anyway, it's been a long ass time since we replaced Roy Keane. And that photo before the game against Liverpool of Casemiro there on the pitch with Roy Keane having a nice little word. I mean, I can't explain to you how excited I am about Casemiro. I've spoken for so long that I became exhausted by the conversation about United needing a number 6. It's like if you looked at every team, Man City had Fernandinho, Chelsea had Kante, Liverpool had Fabinho, Arsenal had Thomas Partey, like Spurs have got Pierre Højbjerg. Like you needed a play. You need a play like that to exist in modern football, and we just overlooked it for so long. And now we've got Casemiro coming in, and we played like that against Liverpool. And you add Casemiro into that, and then you add Antony into that, and maybe Gakpo, and you take Ronaldo out, and then you see Wan-Bissaka leave with Bailly, with Tuanzebe, with Jones. You bring in another backup goalkeeper. There's so much that can still happen in these next 7 days. And look, Antony, you're spot on there. You'll never replace Roy Keane. That's why Roy Keane is rightly heralded, in my opinion, as the greatest Premier League captain there has ever been and there will ever be. But in Casemiro, we've gone a long, long way towards bringing that sort of personality back into this dressing room. Really is an outrageously good signing. I know people have loved it. That he's 30, he's over the hill, he's only leaving Madrid for the money, blah, blah, blah. Cool. You can be a pessimist if you want about this Casemiro deal. But I've waited this long. I've waited this long for a defensive midfielder that I'm going to give him every chance to blow me away. And I'll be honest, I don't think we're going to be waiting long. I imagine he's probably going to go straight in that team against Southampton. He's known as being an obsessive tactician, somebody who watches his own games, tries to develop himself. And you've got to think that there's only 2 reasons why he's come to Manchester United. One is that payday. And you can be the cynic if you want. And I imagine that's probably part of it. Let's be honest, let's not be fools. But he's come to Manchester United for another challenge. And if we play like we did against Liverpool and we start going somewhere else, he could be an absolutely crucial part of this. And I cannot wait to see it happen. I've waited that long for it, man. Yeah, I'm just excited about it. Casemiro coming in. I imagine he's probably going to start against Southampton. And look, in terms of personality, this is the sort of thing that's changing inside our club. Add Casemiro in there. You saw how good Martinez was against Liverpool. Jamie Carragher, try telling me he's 5 foot now, my friend. I'm all ears. Honestly, I'm waiting for it. I'm waiting and waiting and waiting. Martinez was an absolute warrior against Liverpool. Just every tackle was full tilt. Every tackle was 100% committed, and the timing was right. Because you can be full tilt. It's a bit pointless if you're not, good at defending and you're just going to get sent off. Martinez was an absolute boss. And alongside Varane, that was such a perfect blend. Varane and Martinez, it worked. If you've got two Martinezes alongside each other, you'd probably be too aggressive and one of you gets sent off. If you had two Varanes alongside each other, maybe you'd be a little bit too soft. You'd probably play out from the back a little bit too much. Varane and Martinez played off each other perfectly. Perfect foils for each other. And it was cracking. And we've now got Martinez in. We've now got Casemiro in. We've now got Maguire in. The characters inside this team are changing. The personalities inside this team are changing. And everybody, seemingly, from that game there against Liverpool, everyone's on board with it now. I question whether they were against Brighton and Brentford. Correctly so, after what we saw in the preseason. But we saw there against Liverpool, one of the top two teams in the Premier League, we did it, and we did it in style. Even if Liverpool have had a rocky start to the season, nobody expected that. United were nearly 4-1 to beat Liverpool at Old Trafford. I definitely put a tenner on. Of course I did. 4-1 to win a game at Old Trafford we were on Monday. But things are changing. Things really are changing. I'm looking forward to the video I'm going to do at lunch, man. There's so many cool talking points that I could speak of. Josh, how you doing, buddy? Casemiro's got 3 years left at the minimum at the top level and has an incredibly clean injury record. Touch wood, touch wood, touch wood. This is, I absolutely think so as well. I think Casemiro is going to be one of those signings that people want it to fail at Manchester United. But out of all the big signings that we've made like that, and we've made lots of them, I've got real belief that Casemiro can be added into the. Well, you saw that list that Gary Neville and Jamie Carragher made on Monday Night Football, ranking all the signings from United that we've made post Fergie, and they only put Zlatan and Bruno, I think, as successful. I absolutely think you're going to be adding Casemiro to that at Manchester United. That's for sure. Warren, you're saying that Varane was playing alongside Ramos for a long time. Martinez is a perfect partner for him. Hey, look, I think Harry Maguire is going to be left on the bench against Southampton. I think he should be. There's enough time between these two games. Well, not that much time. Monday night to Saturday morning. I think we should stick with that back five. I'll do my predicted 11 for the game on maybe on Thursday. I'm not sure. Maybe Thursday evening I'll put that video out. But look, we've waited and waited and waited. We've been here. We've had the preseason. We've had so much positivity in preseason, and the positivity just got thrown out the window. Put through the mincer against Brighton and Brentford. And now it's come back and then some against Liverpool. So because to do that against Liverpool and the manner that we did it against Liverpool was so, so good. I'm going to be having another video coming out at lunchtime. We're back in business here. I've had a couple of days away, and on top of that, I went to the game against at Old Trafford. But we're back now. 1 week left into the transfer window. I'm not going anywhere now. We're back to business. Thank you all very much for joining in. And what I want to do now, before we finish this video, I'm going to play my latest Glazers out video that I did after that protest yesterday. I'm very proud of these. Please share this video. If you haven't, or if you can already, go onto the YouTube channel or on Facebook. It's there directly. Watch it, share it, and make sure you come and join me tomorrow morning. I'll see you at 9:30.
They took 24 million quid out of the club about 2 months ago. We've got now a decrepit, rotting stadium that is, to be fair, second rate when it was the best stadium in the world 15, 20 years ago. You've got a football project where they haven't got a clue. You've put bankers in charge of the football club, not making football decisions. They've not appointed a sporting director, right? We can look at the players all you like, but there are that many big things that need to be put right first. They've got to show up and basically face the music. Now's the time.
British billionaire Sir Jim Ratcliffe wants to buy a stake in Manchester United with a view to taking full control if the club is for sale. One source has told us he's serious about owning the club and former players would be involved in any potential offer. The development follows reports that the Glazer family are considering selling a minority stake in the club. United have declined to comment about rumours and speculation. Ratcliffe is a United fan, has invested in several sports teams in recent years. According to Forbes, overnight is worth £10.8 billion.
You can't get away from the ownership issue, and I've said this before and I'll keep saying it. Under the current owners, this is what United is going to be like.
The only money that's been spent on players at Manchester United is the money the club has generated or that it's borrowed.
We have seen many anti-Glazer protests at Old Trafford down the years, and this was one of the biggest. Tens of thousands of United supporters pouring down to Matt Busby Way. This protest organised by the 1958, one of the Manchester United supporters groups. They wanted it to be a peaceful protest and a legal one too, and that's what they got. It was full of passion and anger towards the Glazer family. They are still so upset with them for landing this club in hundreds of millions of pounds of debt. The interest on that debt comes to about £19 million a year in interest payments. There's so much more that the fans are unhappy with the Glazer ownership, the way they've structured the club, putting perceived bankers in charge of football decisions. They also tried to lead them into a European Super League, and of course this is the only club in the Premier League which pays its owners dividends.
Because the way they bought the club and the way they loaded debt onto the club and the way the club has to pay those debts off means that United are going to fall further and further behind very well-run clubs where you've got owners who put money in, not owners who take money out.
An apology, perhaps.
Are the fans just customers to you, Mr. Glazer?
Manchester United need £1 billion in this next 2-3 years to either rebuild or renovate that stadium. They probably need another £500-600 million for training ground and other infrastructure projects and football investment. They've only got £40-50 million cash left in the bank. They were cash rich 3 years ago. They had £350 million in the bank. They've no longer got that money in the bank. Something is going to have to give soon, very, very soon.
Well, with the protests over for now, all eyes turn on those potential takeover talks. Last week, Manchester United fan and very businessman Sir Jim Ratcliffe confirmed that he would be interested in buying Manchester United if it were ever put up for sale. The fans that have been here tonight will be hoping that he sticks to his word and forces the Glazers into leaving their club.
And he's always said that he was potentially interested in buying United if they were put up for sale. And that has now been confirmed. He said that, look, this is not about money as far as Sir Jim is concerned. It just feels like the time is right for a reset at Manchester United.